Hi there, my name is Crystal. Welcome to my channel, Books Forever After, where I sit on my floor and we talk about books. Alright, so today we are going to be discussing my October wrap-up, all the books that I read in October. And to get started, we'll do a little bit of stats and such like that. I do not have my star stats because I did not update Storygraph. I'm just starting updating Storygraph, at least for the ones that I read. So I don't have that particularly yet. However, we do have a little bit of some stats here. So let me go and look this up for us. I have, let me see here. I swear I have this already. Okay. So I read 10 books in the month of October. I was thinking I was going to be able to read like 16. To be honest, and I did not. So I think I hit a little bit of a divergence in my reading plans, and that's what we'll talk about today. I ended up just chugging along, and all of a sudden I realized that something, the Off Balance series was released on Kindle Unlimited by Lucia Franco. Put those up here, and it kind of diverged my reading plans, so we'll get back to that here in a second. Okay, so October. Wow, I keep thinking it's September, but it's not. It was October. Okay, so yeah, I read 10 books, and I'll post a little graph up on here. All 10 were romance, but within the romance genre, 4 were fantasy, 2 were young adult, 1 was erotica, 1 was historical, and 1 was contemporary. Alright, and then most of my format this month was, 70% of it was ebooks that I got from Kindle Unlimited, and only 30%, so 3 were actually from physical books. I do not have my star ratings, however, I would guess that it was probably pretty average month. I didn't have any 5 stars. I had a couple 4 stars, and most of it was 4, and then a few 3 stars on these. So not the greatest month, but it is what it is. Just wasn't feeling any like complete love of any of these. One I really did enjoy, and it was a great ending, nearing of my that I read around Halloween, so that was great. So the average pages that I read, the page number and this is probably why I didn't read a lot of them, as many reading count of books, but half was over, like 50% was over 500 pages, so it was quite big, big books. And then 40% were between 30 to 499 pages, and then I read 1 novella, which was under like the 300 page mark. Excuse me. Okay, so the first book I finished in the month of October was The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh, I want to say. This is a vampire romance, and that was like the theme for October, because I want to focus on paranormal fantasy romance. This is set in New Orleans, following, this is probably why I need to write these down, I always forget. But it's following Celine, and she falls in love, or, it's Sebastian in her romance. So it's the beginning of that. I don't want to give, it's kind of hard because I don't want to give away any spoilers or anything like that. I did rate this 4 stars. I thought I would love it. I do have all 3 of the books as a part of the trilogy. And I did like the gothic vibes in this. The only thing that it seemed like it was talking a lot about like dresses and things like that. And I didn't feel like we got to the meat of the whole book, the plot. Yes, there's a murder on the loose. That's kind of like the whole reason that we're kind of going through this. Celine traveled from Paris, I believe, She's kind of running away from something, and when she gets there, she's actually, obviously she is a single woman. I believe this is like late 1800s, I believe. I just can't remember. Let me find here. Let me see. What was it? 1872. So yeah, later 1800s. And she is staying at like a nunnery at the Catholic church there. And obviously this creature that is claiming people is, some sort of, vampire monster thing. But you go find out, she meets Sebastian as well. It's kind of like an instant like hate to love kind of thing. She encounters him in the street on an alleyway. He's like attacking someone. So she's like, hey, for her being brave to like, hey, what are you doing? I can't remember, like, one thing that he says to her is like, oh gosh, like, I think care or something like that. It was like really, really funny. I'm like, oh god, that was pretty awesome. And to be honest, that was the one encounter, like, throughout the whole book, that was the funniest. Like, that was really, it's had a good, it was disappointing because the book had such a great start, but then it kind of lost its way. It was a little confusing. And then you have the third act that kind of propels the second book. A lot of things happen. And I'm just hoping that the second and the third book is better, or at least the second book is better, so I will continue. But it just feels like the characters weren't connecting. I don't know how best to describe it. I did like the one friend, and I can't remember her name. I'll put it on the screen if I do remember, who owns the like club, like cafe thing that they like were hanging out in at one point. But that was like very, very brief towards the end. It just felt very, talking about books, her encounter, and it's all her one point of view, Celine's point of view, so that also kind of makes it a little difficult when you're not getting any other point of view. There is another point of view of, well, no, I am correct. It is the point of view of the creature, whoever is attacking. You don't know who that person is. You do find out at the end. And then there's a point of view of another third character that hasn't been introduced yet, that is on their way journeying to New Orleans. So that kind of starts this feud. So there's this feud, I believe, between, I think they're, whatever they're called, the vampires. Oh gosh, what are they called? They call them something different. So I think that's kind of what makes it really confusing, when they call it something different than what they are. So give me 1 second. Okay, here it is. It starts a dispute between the Fallen and the Brotherhood, and I don't even know. I think the Fallen is vampires, and the Brotherhood is probably like the Lycans, like werewolves. So those are who you're going to be probably getting introduced into the second one. But yeah, so I think, needless to say, it's kind of confusing and a little bit forgettable. But we'll see. Maybe it'll get better. I don't know. And I don't know when I'll read the second one. And if I will read the second one, but I hope to. I'm hoping maybe beginning, in the winter, or maybe in December, I'll read it, try to read the second one. If I don't like it, I'm not afraid to DNF it, because I'm finding that I love YA books, but I'm finding some of them are just not working for me anymore. So I don't know, we'll see. And then I read, let me bring back to where I was at in my little notes here. Then I started reading the Off Balance series because I follow McKay from Oh Hey Miss K, and I know this is like her favorite series. It's a contemporary sports romance following a gymnastics, what's her name? She's following Adriana. I forget, what was he calling her? He was calling her something else. Ariana? I don't know. Her name is Adriana Rossi. And it follows her and her, they coach, can't even remember. Sorry, it is basically a coach, player romance. She is doing gymnastics and she has the goal of going to the Olympics. Kova is a coach, gymnastics coach. He owns his own coaching facility, so to speak. He's actually friends with her dad, and he actually was an Olympic player. He actually went to the Olympics. He's from Russia, by the way, as well. But this is all, I want to say, I think this is all in like Georgia or something like that. Georgia or Atlanta, Georgia, down in the south. So this is down there is where this is all taking place. Majority of this book is taking place. So this is 5 books, all in the span of one point of view, the female's point of view. She is the start of this book in balance. So there's balance, execution, release, twist, and dismount. First off, I don't think this needed to be 5 books. I know, I guess my understanding is there's some die-hard fans of the series, so I feel kind of bad but saying this, but it did not need to be 5 books. No. And maybe it's just not my fan of following the same characters throughout multiple books. But there wasn't even that much drama. But there was a lot of drama. Maybe just in my old age, I don't know. It was just too much drama that it was so facilitated that it was drugged out. I mean, there was a lot of spice. The first book I rated a 3-star because, and I continued on because of that. The author Lucia Franco has a great way of like keeping you reading, and you just don't know why you're reading. So she's a great writer. It was just this story. I don't know what it was, but she was 16, and I think for me, that's too young, and that's my limit. That's my boundary. But I guess the age of consent in Georgia is 17, which, I'm like, okay. And it's not necessarily, like, the age was made a turn off. Like, sometimes I can read new adult where they're 18. But it's just, like, sometimes it works because the maturity level of the female character is above her age. This one totally, especially for her living on her own and such like that, she was still very immature. Very immature. And that just didn't work for me. It just didn't work for me. So, but yeah. So Kova is already married. So there's cheating in here. It's a cheating romance. And yeah, I don't know, it's kind of hard to say. So the second one, Twist, I rated 3-star. Release, I rated 4. Execution, I rated 4. And sorry, I did it backwards. Balance, I rated 3. Execution, 4. Released, 3. Twist, 3. And Dismount, 3. So it's basically really like a 3-star for me because, and I really liked, and I think especially why the second one, I think it was in that one, why I liked it so much is because of the reveal, and it was so emotional what the female character was going through. This has a lot of good representation for autoimmune disease, and I don't want to spoil anything in my review here, but it was just not, that's what really kept me going with, like, their struggle. And I think at the same time, like, why was she denying all these things? So, like, not listening to her body. As an Olympic athlete, you should be listening to your body. And like that part wasn't believable for me. and it all speaks to like the maturity level, and like there's like for Ko, like I don't know, I just feel like there should have been more people looking out for her. It was just kind of weird, and maybe that's what the intention was with the author for that, but there's some part of it just maybe it would have been helpful with another person's point of view, but it was just that part didn't work for me. Definitely a lot of steam and tension, and I think, you know, facilitated drama that kind of added to that, but Kobo was a little intense, let's just say, for a grown man my age, so I don't know, I think that's just part of it. And it was good, and like it was good because of reading, it made me read, but it wasn't good at the same time. I was kind of frustrated. Really let down by the last book. Felt kind of anticlimactic, especially the one big reveal when she does, you know, because she's following through her journey through Olympics, and it just was not believable because it was all this buildup of something this is going to be a big deal when it's finally revealed, and when it was revealed it was like barely mentioned, but yet we had 4 to 5, 6 chapters focused on just sex scenes. I mean, I'm all for spice, but I wanted more plot. Like more of that tense, so I don't know. Sorry, this probably doesn't make sense and such, but I see why some people like it and love this. I just, it's not a love for me. I don't see myself ever rereading these. I will try something else by the author, but I was kind of disappointed. No, my light just went out. I'm just kind of disappointed by this this show. So this show, but these books. So it could have been cut down to really to 3 books, to be honest. But yeah, yeah, kind of lackluster. About 3-star, but I do look forward to. I will look forward to try something from the author. Maybe not soon, but maybe down the line. Yeah, and each of these pages were like at least 500. Like one was maybe 470 pages or something like that, at the least. So long, just so long. But yeah. All right, I feel like I was beating a dead horse with that one, so let's just move on to the next one. What else did I read in October? Let's see. So yeah, I really did. I like sprint read those books. I would then one after the other with no break in between. So I feel like kind of like a manic reading. The next book was, and sorry, my light keeps going off. It's an e-book that I got off of NetGalley. I believe it's from like an independent author. It's a young adult. This is Spellbound Lies by Katherine Downen, and it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling with a Jekyll and Hyde twist. Very long book. Initially, when I think it was released, it's supposed to be a standalone, and you can read it as a standalone. However, I believe next October 2023, the second book is coming out. I rated this one a 4-star. It was really enjoyable, and I do want to kind of read more by Katherine Downen. I even put a lot of her books on my wish list, for my Amazon wish list. Really enjoy her writing style. The only thing that threw me off, so I really like the way she was conveying the story, and it's in the heroine's point of view. In the way that she's starting to unravel like the world building, I kind of just wish there was a little bit more. And I know it's part of the whole lure being like a mystery on that, but I wish that there was more to it in the world building with that. Some of it was a little confusing because she had great descriptions of like the character descriptions and what they're wearing. Some of it might have been unnecessary, but it was really confusing when she would talk about, in one thing they have carriages and dresses, and, you know, of the time period that you'd be expecting, and then all of a sudden you'd be talking about jeans. That kind of, every time that would come up, it would kind of throw me out of the book. So I'm like, wait, they're wearing jeans? But yeah, they have horse carriages and things like that. So it kind of just threw me out because of those clothing descriptions didn't match the rest of the story. And I get maybe she's trying to convey more of a like a modern take on it as well, but it's kind of like you need to pick which you want at the same time, because it kind of, for me, it just threw me off. But yeah, so this one was really good. Yeah, it was just really good. So the main character, I always forget to say this, is Jessamine Ellis Dream, and the Beast and the Prince, whatever, they're Jekyll and Hyde, is Prince Nisklaus, and the Beast is called Nick, supposedly the Beast. And so she gets trapped inside. So she's a baker, and she is invited to serve at like a courting session that the prince is holding for the eligible maidens, you know, in the land. And she comes back later that night because she realized that she had a hole in the pocket from one of her precious family heirloom. So she's there looking for it, and then she's stopped by the Beast and the prince or whoever, and they stop her from being able to leave, and she's basically, you know, kidnapped and held hostage or held prisoner within the castle. And things, you know, kind of unravel and ensue there, where she starts to try to help them solve the mystery of everything. And you know, she kind of is between her, you know, Prince Nisklaus and his friend, why can't I remember his name? And then, you know, and then the Beast is let out kind of like at nighttime. There's only limited time, like 6 hours and that kind of stuff. So the twist at the end was kind of interesting. There are witches and things like here and here, but so it's a lot of there's just kind of the three of them trying to solve this mystery, and her relationship the difference between her relationship between the prince and her relationship between Nick. So yeah, 4 stars. Definitely looking for a reading. I will try to, definitely probably looking to read the second book when it comes out next October. And then I read King of Battle and Blood by Scarlett St. Clair. This Scarlett St. Clair, I really enjoyed her Hades and Persephone series. That was my first introduction to her. I had not read the versions of like the Game of Fate series when it's from a Hades perspective, so I'm looking forward to starting that sometime soon, hopefully for next year. So this one is a vampire romance. This is following Adrian and Isolde. Adrian is the vampire king. Isolde is a princess from her land, and she is somewhat forced to marry him. As Adrian wants to, you know, basically kind of comes to her land where her father has basically, surrendered to him, so to save his people, so they are not killed by Adrian and his army. So yeah, so things ensue from there. Highly spicy. I rated this one at 3-star. 3-star rating. It felt like there was enemies to lovers, but things kind of happened too fast instead of letting it unravel naturally. So yeah. So this one. So yeah, I think that's about the best I can say for there. There's like other creatures as well that's involved there, some mystery creature or things that's attacking towns and such like that, but yeah, there's a lot of spice, but it just was a little for me, I guess you can say. But yeah, when the second one comes out, I think the second one might be already out. I might read the second one. We'll see. But yeah, 3 stars. And I have 2 more books that I read. I read started this one on, I think, Halloween? Nope, 30th, Friday, the day before Halloween. So this is The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling. My first time reading this one. This one is a contemporary paranormal romance. It's very, very cute. So I rated this one a 4 star. So this is so adorable it would make your teeth hurt kind of a thing. So it was very similar to Juliet Cross's Wolf Gone Wild series, so it's kind of very just that kind of vibe, not the plot at all, but very, very cute. Really enjoyable read. This follows Vivian Jones, so Vivi, and then Reese Penhallow is her ex. So Reese kind of breaks up with her. He's a descendant of the town that she's living in, and they're in college, and they know college sweethearts. And he breaks up with her and tells her that he's like betrothed, and then he leaves her, and so she's heartbroken and angry, and she ends up cursing him or putting a hex on him, and things ensue from there when he comes back to do a re-summoning or something for the magic for the town, and a lot of things go a little haywire. The magic throughout the town just goes crazy. So but yeah, very cute. I think there's a second one that was just released this year. So I got this one from Book of the Month box last year. But yeah, I would definitely pick up the second one and read that I probably will save that for next October as well for my read then. So very good, very cute. And then last I read from Kindle Unlimited on an ebook of Sacrifice by Katee Robert. This is a vampire romance, but it's basically just smut. Just smut. I know she recently released a bind-up of it's part of the 3 novellas trilogy. She recently just released a bind-up, Carter Court of the Vampire Queen, I believe. I rated this a 2-star. I am not continuing this at all. Which is really unfortunate because I do enjoy her Dark Olympus series and other books by her, especially her monster romances that she just released. Those are kind of a lot. Basically, you know, they're really smutty, but they actually have a decent sized plot as a novella. And I don't know, maybe it just has novella syndrome because it's so small, but it's really very surface level. Like it wasn't even, I feel like it wasn't even trying to give a plot or anything. It was just full on sexy time. And it wasn't good. And there's a time and place for that, I'm sure, you know, as readers, there's a time and place for that, and where you just want the spice. But it was just, the spice wasn't even working either, I think. It was not the greatest and not my favorite by Katee Robert. So really let down with this one. But yeah, I do definitely want to try her monster romance that she read. That she wrote. So those were that I read the first one of those, and that was really cute. So yeah, that's really about it. I do hear that like the second one, there's a little more balance between the spice and the plot, and then the third one I've heard that there's more plot but then barely any spice. So I think the dichotomy of it is kind of not matching. It just doesn't flow or make sense. So but that's just not my cup of tea. If you enjoyed it, that's fine. That's just my opinion and just my experience with these books. So but yeah, so those are the books that I read in the month of October. Again, let me know if you enjoyed these books, or what books you liked in October. But yeah, again, disclaimer, it's just sometimes you don't like books that are popular, or you might like a book, but someone else might not like it or absolutely dislike it. So it happens. It is what it is, I guess you can say. But yeah, so please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you next time. Bye.